Video was all about sort of self-doubt, and it was quite personal, which it wasn't going to be. It was going to be a review of the Mummy movies and why they're fucking awesome. I'm sure I'll get to that at some point. But seeing as I did my last video on self-doubt, I thought I would do this video on self-worth, because last video was a huge bummer and massive downer, and positivity for the win. So today I thought I would drink a lot of coffee and talk about self-worth and why it's good to have it. I know, it's a shocker that you should be glad to have some of that sick elixir called self-worth. Celebrities who talk about body positivity at the moment, it happened, I can't remember who it was, posted a photo on Instagram basically like, oh, I love my body, even though, you know, I've had a few kids, but she's like perfect looking. She's like thin and beautiful. She's getting all this hate from people who are like, you can't say that because you're actually beautiful and brr. And like, to an extent, I get where those people are coming from, because it does kind of suck when you look like I do and you're sitting there looking at these like gorgeous models going, oh, you should just love yourself. Love you the way you look. And you're like, yeah, but you look like, you know, Gal Gadot or Ashley Graham or Amy Adams. You're like, you look incredible, so like, fuck off. When I saw those comments, there was a small part of me that was like, yeah. But then the sensible half of me kicked in and I was like, no, fuck you. Maybe that woman is incredibly insecure. Maybe she has been her whole life. Maybe despite being thin, she has other facets of herself that she hates. You don't know. You don't know what someone's opinion of their self-worth is, and I think it's unfair to judge someone based on that. So I got quite annoyed and I decided I'd make a video about it. Because my self-worth is tied up in the things I'm good at, because I've never really known myself to be pretty. I've never rested a lot of my self-worth on my looks, because I don't have any, and that's fine with me. I'm fine with that. I'm absolutely fine with not being thin and model pretty, and, you know, and I always have been. And there's such a weird reaction to that when you say something like that. People think that you're talking down to yourself and they get really offended for you, and they're like, oh my god, no, don't say that, you're beautiful, you're amazing. It's like, yeah, okay, but also I know my limitations. I know I'm never gonna win like a modeling competition for a headshot. Like, it's just not gonna happen. I get it. And that's not a self-pity thing or a self-doubt thing. That's just being realistic. I've based a lot of my self-worth on who I am as a person. Being nice to people and being supportive, and I tend to be the mum friend that people come to for advice, because I want to be known for being nice, because that's where my self-worth comes from. It's not from my weight, which is not thin. It's not from my face, which is not Gal Gadot. It's just it's just not. And so I found it in other things. I found it in being nice. I found it in writing. I found it in music. And I never feel more myself than when I'm listening to music while writing. I mean, the only way I can feel more myself while doing that is if I'm writing a scene where people are just intrinsically nice to each other and help each other through something difficult. Because I feel like so much of me and who I am comes from not having a lot of that growing up, having people to lean on when things were difficult. I had my mum, and my younger sister's amazing, but I don't want to like lean on her with my shit because she's younger than me. I should be the one she leans on. So I never did that, and I tried not to do that. And when I got to high school and I had friends, it was different, and I had to sort of learn that like I could lean on people, and sometimes it didn't work. Sometimes I would lean on people and they would react and back off, and that's fine too, because everyone has their different capacity for compassion. And one of my friends in particular I want to talk about, Courtney, is one of my favorite people in the entire world, because when I met her, I'd been in high school for a year, and I had been trying to work out who I was outside of being the posh, nerdy girl who talks a lot, right? Because that was me all through primary school, and I got bullied a bit, and, you know, it obviously didn't work. So I became like a theatre kid and did Annie and did some really cool stuff that year and made some great friends. But then they, you know, they were a specific kind of person that I didn't feel I necessarily fit with. And then I met Courtney, and she just was unapologetically herself immediately. She was like, yep, I'm nerdy, but I'm also gonna hang with these like popular girls, and I don't give a shit. But if they're dicks to me, they can fuck off. And I was just like blown away by that, because that is just not who I am at all. Like, I can't be like that. And I was just floored by how totally she owned herself. She just knew who she was and she put it out there, and if you didn't like it, that's fine. And I was just like, how do you do that? And I was so drawn to her because of that, and so I just look up to her so much because of who she is as a person. And you know, then I got to know her better, and I learned that she overcame some shitty things in her childhood as well, and obviously she'd managed to do that before I did. So then I, you know, discussed with her about it. And, you know, we've had conversations at length about, you know, people in our lives who are dicks to us and how to not get bogged down with that. And she's amazing that she can just take something horrible that's happening to her and she can still make a joke during it. And she's a big part of the reason why I can do it as well. When something horrible is happening to me, I can make a joke about it. And it comes from her self-worth and the fact that she knows that she's got it. She's not sitting there thinking, oh, you know, everyone's right, I am terrible and no one likes me like I do. And maybe she is, but then she gets over it. So I wanted to, you know, to learn from her, and I did. I learned so much about self-worth, and she's a big part of the reason why I have any self-worth at all. She's the kind of friend who, you know, if I'm sitting there going, oh, I'm really shit, slaps the words out of my mouth. She's like, bitch, no, you're amazing. And I think everyone needs a friend like that. Everyone needs a friend like Courtney. But also, I learned self-worth in high school because I didn't feel I had any in primary school. I spent 7 years feeling like I wasn't shit. I felt alone and weird and miserable for a long time. And high school was sort of amazing because the friends that I had taught me what it was like to like myself. It's kind of awesome to have that. And your self-worth can be based on how you look. I mean, some days I wake up and I just look at myself in the mirror and I think that I am smoking fucking hot. I am so good looking sometimes, I swear to God. Other times I wake up and I just look at myself and I'm like, oh God, I should burn every mirror in this house, all of them. And that's fine because everyone has those days that skew between good and bad. But if you can't put all of your self-worth on the one thing you're good at or the one way you look. You know, I've spent a lot of my time putting my self-worth on the two things I'm good at, but then I don't show them to anyone. So then that self-worth is only benefiting me, and then it's not because I haven't shown it to anyone, so I have no proof that that's a thing I should be basing my opinion of myself on. And then so I just spiral downwards, and that's bad, and don't do that. So you need to find your self-worth in the things that you do that you respect about yourself. Not the things that you do that, like, you know, you think you're good at, but the things that you do or have done or are going to do that you respect about yourself. I respect the fact that I am creative, and I respect the fact that I am straightforward and honest. I respect the fact that I'm quite an empathetic person, and you know, it doesn't matter who you are, I'll sit next to you and I'll listen to what you're going through because I want to help. And you know, a lot of that comes from me not having people like that when I was younger, except my mum. Again, she's amazing. But you know, I think that it doesn't matter where it comes from as long as you know that it's a good part of yourself. And there are parts of myself that I don't like, but then I don't use those to base my self-worth on. So the parts of me that are depressed and anxious all the time, that's not who I am. It's my reaction to that that makes me who I am. The depression is just a weird chemical imbalance in my brain. It's my reaction to the depression that makes me who I am. And that's what you should base your self-worth on. Not the things that happen to you, even if there's a lot and it sucks, but the things that make you who you are in reaction to those things. And that's why, you know, I don't feel like I need to lose weight. I'm not a thin person. I don't think I ever really was. I was sort of when I was little, obviously, but not, you know, once I hit puberty, it was like, oh, boobs, ass, thighs, cool, sweet. Like, it's just how my biology works. And I got a lot of negative mental health issues from close people in my life indirectly calling me fat. None of them ever actually did it. This particular person I'm referring to would imply that I was eating too much, or imply that I wasn't eating healthily, or imply that fat people don't get dates. They never outright said it, but it was the implication that, like, me being this way wasn't good enough. I had to get over that alone, and I have to be okay with the fact that I don't want to lose weight now because I found self-worth in that. I found self-worth in the fact that I got confident despite someone telling me that the way I looked was never going to be good enough. And so now I'm absolutely fine exactly the way I am. I have no interest in being thinner. And I don't think that that's necessarily a fantastic thing, because now I'm almost in the other direction where I've gone, where if I lost a bunch of weight now and suddenly became really thin, I'd have to sort of relearn how to love myself that way. So I'm not saying that it's the best way to be, and I am not an authority on loving yourself and self-worth, because I wake up most mornings just wishing I was somebody else. But on those days when I do wake up like that, I have to remember that, you know, the thing that I hate about myself today, which is, you know, like my flabby stomach, is the thing that I had to love about myself on those days when, you know, I couldn't find anything else to like about myself. I think no matter what you look like or how good or bad you are at something, if you enjoy it, if it makes you happy, if it contributes to who you are as a person, you can find self-worth in it. And you should. I love myself conditionally, but I still love myself. And I think you have to learn to do that while not shitting on someone else. Don't comment on hot models' Instagram pictures telling them that they have no right to feel insecure, because maybe they fucking do. And you need to back the fuck up there, buddy. Back the fuck up. But anyway, that's all I wanted to talk about today, really, was just that everyone should find the things they like about themselves, even if it's just one thing. Even if it's something that you like about yourself that you don't think anyone else does, or that, you know, you don't think is like a valid thing to base your self-worth on. I feel like if you can find a few little things that you really like about yourself, you're going to be okay. Even when the world is crashing down around your ears, I think you're going to be okay. I don't have an outro still, so I guess this is my outro. I keep saying this every week. I don't have an outro. Fuck me. So, fuck me, guys.